I want to do this video on showing you how to tighten up the steering on a Saginaw steering box on the classic car. This is actually 1971 Cutlass. We rebuilt this car. It took us like 3 years to completely do it from bumper to bumper, frame off restoration. And the steering was ridiculously loose for a very long time. We changed all the ball joints are new, the tie rod ends are new, the idler arm, pitman arm, all brand new, the drag links new. Everything that could move, that physically could move in the on the front suspension was changed. It was replaced, and there was still some amount of slack that was in the steering that no matter what we did going down the road, you were constantly doing this, chasing the wheel. It would just be drifting to this side, a little bit back and forth, and always just uneasy going down a highway that you're constantly chasing it. So I figured out how to tighten up the steering box, and it's important that you note where to actually make a proper adjustment, because the adjustment that everybody aims for is not the right thing. It's only part of it. There's two places where you adjust it. I'll show you the box once. I'll show it to you on a bench, but what we're going to do is we're going to take out all that slop so that when you actually turn the wheel, you feel a response in the wheel and in the front wheels, and the car actually steers and turns, and it takes all the slop out of it. So I'll show you that in a second. So let's go underneath the hood. You got the steering shaft comes in here. That's the input of the gearbox, and there's a rubber coupling right here that the steering shaft turns. This turns the gears inside of the recirculating ball unit, which is what this is. And there is there's a lock nut and an Allen set screw here that adjusts tension on the gears inside of the box. And this is not the right place to take up all the slack. It is part of the adjustment, but it's not everything. And since it's always right up top, it's very easy to get to. Everybody automatically aims for this, and they try to take up all the slack out of this. But really what you're doing is, when you take slack up by tightening this, you're actually over tightening all the gears. You're causing some interference inside of the box that's really not, it's two things. One, it's not going to fix all the slop problem, and two, it's going to potentially cause damage to the box. So we're going to get this box on a bench, and I'm going to show you exactly how to adjust this properly. Now this steering box has two adjustments, and the one that we used to always go to that you think is the one is on the top, and this is actually holding down a little worm gear piece that's on the bottom of this that turns the on top of the arm, and it's got a 5/8 inch lock nut, and I don't know what size Allen wrench this is, but the Allen wrench is actually, you turn this to tighten or loosen. Well, actually I've got it cranked down right now. So if you, in order to adjust this, you would back off on the tension, and then turn this up or down, and then it takes out that slack. But that's not really where the slack usually is. The slack is usually something else, which I've not been able to find a video on the internet, but you can find it in manuals on this box. And basically what you'll see when you're looking at the steering box is, you'll see this nut, this little, looks like a flange almost, but this is threaded onto the end of the steering box, and it's right behind your steering coupler. And your steering coupler is right here. And this little device is nothing more than a lock nut. So once you break this off, once you turn this off, and in order to get this off, I tried beating it with a screwdriver and a hammer, and that didn't work. Then I found the best way was to go with something that was actually that shape, which is a flat bar. So I put the flat bar into the little slot and then tapped on the top of it, and eventually it broke free without harming the nut. Every time I was using a screwdriver, it started to chip, started to damage the nut. Let's see if I can find the end. I lost one of the ears from hitting it with a screwdriver. So you can maybe see that one's broken off, and that's just not what we wanted. So in order to tighten this, this is how you actually disassemble the entire steering box. And there's two 3/16 inch diameter pinholes in here, and there's a tool I'm sure that's made specifically for doing this, but this is late in the afternoon, and I'm in the garage tinkering around, and I just didn't feel like taking an hour out of my way to go see if AutoZone or someplace else actually had the tool, so I gave this a shot just in a pinch to see if it would work, and it did. I took a 3/16" drill bit and screwdriver, and I was able to wedge the screwdriver in between here and kind of use this in order to turn this little compression sleeve, whatever this is, this compression piece. So if you want to tighten it, you'll turn it clockwise, and if you want to loosen it, you turn it counterclockwise. So I did that, and I didn't bend the drill bit, and it just so happens that when you tighten this is now going to take up whatever slack you've got in this shaft assembly, and then it should help out a bit. If you got a worn box, of course, this isn't going to work. But if the box has got, you can adjust it. Maybe it's got a little bit of slack. You might be able to take it up, and rather than replacing or completely having the box completely rebuilt, maybe this will do something. So I'm not quite sure if this is going to work, but I've decided to try it. So I've already tightened this up. This was like oriented this way, and by the time I turned it and got it to where I felt like it was snug back up, there's a method that they show in the manuals. It says you mark it and then you turn it back like a quarter turn, or you turn it back, not a quarter turn, like a quarter of an inch back or so. So I tightened this definitely more than that before I felt the slack come out of it. And then you have to have this jam nut and this shaft all the way loosened up, and then when you do that, you'll see this will start giving a little bit of play because this has got a little bit of vertical action in it. So then once you get this tightened up, then you snug this down until this stops moving. Now in the manual it says to turn this until it's got, I don't know, 2 inch-pounds or something like that or 2 foot-pounds. I'm not quite sure of what it is of torque. I don't remember the setting, but I don't have a torque wrench, and I'm trying this just to see if this is going to do it. So, but really, all I'm trying to do is explain where in the heck this little guy is to adjust, because this is never talked about, seen, shown on YouTube. So I figured, aha, I would reveal the curtain and show you the part that really is probably where the majority of your woes are. Okay, now that the steering box is back in the car, I can show you that it definitely did the trick. It took out all the slack out of the steering column. So if you can see, with just a little bit of the turn of the wheel, you can see that, if I can get both of them in the shot here, see if you can get it. But just a little bit of turn of the wheel, and it's moving. You can see it. Kind of hard to catch in the video, but definitely it works. It made all the difference in the world in this car. So it definitely did the trick. I'm sure this will help somebody else. So I really hope that you got something out of the video. Maybe it'll help you out. But I do appreciate you watching, and thanks and good luck.